Well, hello everyone. Yes, it is Saturday, and I am starting to get caffeinated. I had a little bit of coffee, but obviously not enough because I'm still kind of tired. So this is not going to be a long stream, I don't think. I just don't think there's not much to talk about. However, I do want to talk about the article that was written about me on Soap Opera Spy because it was pretty good. I mean, it only had to be limited to 500 to 600 words, so I can't imagine them wanting to put too much information into that. So when they when we had contacted each other, so to speak, when I was trying to explain to her what was going on as far as my lawsuit with Katie Joy, she had mentioned that she had a very limited, space to put as much information as she can in. So 500 words is pretty limiting. But I think that she did a pretty good job. Her name is Flowers, Jane Flowers, was the person who wrote this particular article, and she seemed really interested in that. Here's a person who's being sued by a well-known person, relatively well-known celebrity, Todd Chrisley, and also from another party by the name Robert Shin from 7M Productions. And there's apparently 2 or 3 more lawsuits on the way, all of which are a defamatory in nature. They're all claiming that Katie Joy Paulsen, aka Without a Crystal Ball, has defamed them. This I know to be the case. Why? Because she has defamed me. I have how many videos on my channel explaining how many times this woman has lied about me, and not just about me, but of other people. She did this to Aaron, she did it to Tina, she did it to a whole bunch of other people, and so this seems to be a common thread with Katie Joy Paulsen. I know she has a lot of trolls out there. They all kind of go around going, why are you guys going after Katie Joy? Nobody goes after Katie Joy. People only just point out what she has said and then tries to point out why she's incorrect. And of course, she doesn't like that. She goes after those types of people. She tries to shut them down. She did that with me. She filed a false TRO against me, which was subsequently dismissed. And she did it against 2 other content creators as well, which were subsequently dismissed. She then lied and said it was placed under the Violence Against Women's Act. That was a lie. I have evidence that was a lie. And so she went out of her way to try to smear me by filing these false reports. And I don't take those things lying down. So I did initiate a lawsuit. I'm still trying to get it to be filed in actual Minnesota court. I've been talking to a lot of different people. I have other lawyers that are aware of the situation. And I'm doing what I best for all parties involved, including myself, right? She has no case against me. She has no defense, I would think, whatsoever. She did lie about me. That is undisputable. The facts and evidence are that she lied. Now, whether it's malicious or not, yeah, I believe absolutely it's malicious, but I don't have to prove malice. I only have to prove that she was incorrect and it was defamatory, and she didn't correct the record. But of course, yes, I do think it reached the state of malice because we have a ongoing schema, I guess you can say, of her actions. In other words, a totality of actions by her, not just towards me, but towards many other content creators, dozens of other content creators. And so when you put all those factors in together, you can make an argument that this person is acting out of malice. And I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to be the case in other lawsuits. I'm pretty sure that in the 7M lawsuit, they are going to try to make an argument that she has done this to other content creators, including Todd Chrisley, and including maybe myself. So I definitely think that there's going to be ramifications for her making these false and defamatory statements. Whether I get justice or not through my own court case or through somebody else's, I want the information out there. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing it to get a large amount of money out of her because, one, I don't think she has much left. I don't know. According to certain people, she's running out of funds on a lot of these lawsuits. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. However, they still have to be pretty costly. But again, when people are suing her for millions and I'm only asking for $50,000, what's there going to be left after these people get done with her? I don't think she's going to keep her house. I don't think she's going to keep her car. I don't think she's going to keep her channel. I think she's pretty much going to lose everything after a period of time. I don't know what's in it for me other than getting my reputation restored by letting people know that she lied about me. And I think that will be fine if she admits she lied in other cases. I think that will at least be precedent that she's a dishonest content creator. Kawasa 5001 says, well, Katie Joy Paulsen seems to be certainly increasing her notoriety in all sorts of places. Yes, and I appreciate the fact that this article was done. I expect more articles to be done either on me or at least on Todd Chrisley and 7M and Miranda and all the people that are suing. And I think there's 3 more lawsuits that are supposed to be being filed in a relatively short period of time. There have been 2 new legal representations hired. I don't know if they've completed filing or completed drafting the complaint yet, but I suspect probably pretty soon. I would not be surprised if there's going to be more filings within the next couple weeks. And so they all are going to basically be defamational in nature, that this person, Katie Joy, does not just repeat the what she hears, as far as like reporting on from a public source. There are very specific conditions for what's called the repeatability law, I believe it's called, or repeatability rule. When you repeat certain things and you knowingly know they're false and have no justification for the belief that they are true based upon a public source, they have to be a public source, then you can be held liable. And her just repeating things that she has heard is not an excuse for defaming people. Even when she lied about me committing fraud and admitted that she was wrong about it, to me it was a lie, but she never admitted, I will admit, she never admitted she directly lied. She can't do that. But, she admitted that it was wrong, that she was wrong on it. But then later on, she started, making the same accusations, which, of course, knowing that they were wrong is constitutive of a lie. So even if I gave her principle of charity, and when I actually did give her principle of charity, and I even told her, I know that you probably believe Kyle, and I was giving her the benefit of the doubt. But after she was aware that Kyle had lied, and after aware that I didn't commit fraud, and she continued afterwards to make those accusations, that is constitutive of lying. And so in this particular article, I did talk to the reporter. I gave her my statement, and she did read my my blog. I don't know how much follow-up there really needs to be after that, because I'm just a small time nothing. But it does show that this can be used in another case. If another case wants to make the argument that she has done this to another content creator, well, hello, which might actually happen. Who knows? And I'd be okay with that. If I got my justice through that means, where she admitted she had lied, I would be quite fine with that. All right, so let's kind of go through this article real quick. So it says, the non sequitur show, Steve McRae joins the list of Katie Joy lawsuits. Yep. It is growing. Obviously, there was the original one, which was Tadia Westbrook, had brought the lawsuit first for defamation. Unfortunately, due to jurisdictional issues, that didn't go through. I don't blame Tadia Westbrook for dropping it. I think she probably made the right move as far as what's beneficial to her. But I kind of wish she hadn't. But I understand her reasoning. She wanted some information from Katie from Swanson on Halo Beauty. She got it. And she was able to pursue that legally. And now she has basically, gone that route and found that, from what I understand, Swanson did knock her off or get some, she got. I think what happened was there was some cosmetic line. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't follow any of the the beauty content, the cosmetology stuff. So, but what I remember though, there was some run of cosmetics that didn't meet her standard or something, and so there was basically just a trial run, but it never got to production, it never got to any kind of quality control, it never got to her approval, and somehow was it Swanson or somebody else got a hold of these things and sold them, or were selling them? I don't know what the palette's called, but that's kind of what I heard happen, and I don't know if that was part of the what Swanson was doing with Halo Beauty. I just don't know the details on that, but I do know that she did get some information from Katie on Swanson, and it seemed to help her out, and so that's what Tadia was going for, and so she dropped the lawsuit as far as defamation against Katie, which, by the way, Katie did not win. That is a lie. You do not win a lawsuit when somebody drops something. There was no adjudication for it, so she did not win. She basically caved in, gave Tadia what she wanted, and Tadia said, okay, I'm not going to pursue it. There's a huge difference, and how she spins that to her following is absolutely BS. It is wrong. It is absolutely wrong. You do not win a lawsuit until there's a judgment against you of some kind. I won the non sequitur show case because I have a judgment. It's not filed in the court, but I have a judgment. It's called a confession of judgment. It's for $115,000. And we might have to file it through the court if we cannot get actionability on it. We are trying to, it's supposed to be actionable in July. If we have not received action on it by July, meaning we have not had any kind of revenue from it from Kyle, we will file it through the court and we will get an actual full judgment through the court for $115,000 for the full amount, a balance due. In which case, after 10 years, I'll be going after him for the rest of his life. I will be finding out where he works, where he banks. I know you can't garnish in North Carolina, but you can sure tap bank accounts. You can attach a lien to anything. You can do a writ of execution for anything that they may own, including computers, phones, cars. He always has a phone. An Apple phone's worth a couple $100. I can do a writ of execution pretty much anytime I want after I have that. So there are ways, the means to collect if he doesn't fulfill his obligations on his confession of judgment, where he admits that he owes the money and that he will be paying it off over a period of time. So that's a win. That to me is a win. It doesn't have to be adjudicated if somebody signs a confession of judgment. So, but anyway, so the Non Sequitur Show was, of course, the show by which Katie Joy had started her YouTube channel. It was obviously my producer, Bullinator, who's no longer with us, that gave her the skills, I guess, to operate YouTube channel as far as using OBS and things of that nature. So I know Bullinator was really instrumental in showing her how to stream. If it wasn't for him, I don't think she'd be on YouTube. And by the way, I'm not blaming him. If it wasn't for Non Sequitur, she wouldn't have a channel. So again, I'm not blaming us either, although I have taken responsibility for it as far as I'm sorry, but there's nothing, how was I supposed to know? Come on, April says, can we get me crazy to start a class action suit against her for defamation? Yeah, it's so funny because Todd did mention that he wanted to have a class action lawsuit. And then I think in his last podcast, he kind of turned that 180. And I was like, No, he did say that. Now, I always had some issues with that because a class action lawsuit requires specific criteria to bring about. And defamatory statements are very specific to a plaintiff. And so when you're doing a defamatory case, I don't know how that could be applied as class action because there's something in commonality between all the people, all the parties. A class action would typically be if something was harming someone, harming a group of people. For example, if you had a product and it caused harm to multiple people, then you can form a class action lawsuit. Clearly she caused harm to multiple people, but defamatory statements are unique to individuals rather than some defect of the product. So I don't even know what he meant by a class action lawsuit, although I did run with it, and I said, okay, who wants to be part of a class action lawsuit? So I don't know how much feedback he got on that. I know a bunch of people did email him or his lawyers, one over the other, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see any means by which a class action can happen. Now, do I know the lawyers are communicating? Yes, absolutely. All the lawyers that are involved in any of this have communicated with the other lawyers. That's fine. And so they do know what's going on in each other's cases. All right, so let's scroll right past her offense. So she says the Non Sequitur Show was started by Steve McRae and Kyle Curtis in 2017. Unfortunately, it all fell apart. Yes, it did. And the reason why it fell apart is because Kyle Curtis was a dishonest prick who cared more about his ego than the channel and about the substance. And he listened to stupid people giving him stupid advice. And he was just dishonest. And so when you have somebody like that, unbeknownst to the community and unbeknownst to a partner, it sucks and it fell apart. It didn't It didn't have to happen that way. He made his decision. He decided to go the route he was going to go, and that was purely based upon egotism. That was purely based upon his wanting to think that he could do something that he wasn't lawfully able to do and get away with it. And that to me is dishonest. That to me is unethical. If anybody thinks Kyle Curtis is ethical at this point, y'all got issues. I don't know a single person I shouldn't say that. Like one person or two people maybe that still, for some reason, thinks Kyle is honest, and that just to me is unbelievable. But whatever, look, anything can happen on the internet. You got people that believe the Earth is flat. Okay, so you got people out there that think like 5G is doing weird things to you and stuff. I mean, these people will believe anything. So when you have people that are that conspiratorial and that dumb, hell, you got Unirock fans. I mean, they do exist, right? So I don't think that there will ever be a time where there won't be anybody who won't believe people like Kyle Curtis, right? Whatever. What are you going to do? But it fell apart because of that. And yes, I'm giving commentary on this. Why? Because I can. So Catherine Mansky Paulsen, aka Katie Joy Without a Crystal Ball, not doxing her. It's public information here. Not doxing. Again, not doxing. Her name is public record. So anybody says you're doxing her, no, you're an idiot. That's not what doxing is. And sat front and center in the drama that followed. Yes, she did. And for her to say otherwise is an outright lie. She was well aware of what was going on. She says she was never really part of NSS. That is a lie. I mean, she wasn't part of, well, okay, I'm going to say it's a half lie. I don't want to go out and say it's a full lie. She and Kyle were working on a separate project called The Smoking Nun, which was supposed to have been a separate channel. That's how we discussed it. They wanted to do the pilot or maybe 2 shows on an On Sequitur show, and then it was supposed to be transferred to a different channel. Just like he wanted to do with Ed Hommies, with that other dishonest douchebag, Jimmy Snow. And that didn't happen either, but they did make a channel on it. So she wasn't actually part of the Non Sequitur show as per like the project, anything like that. She wasn't compensated in any way, but Kyle wanted to do a side project with her, which I was all for. I mean, I really was. I'm like, look, do your side projects. I want to do side projects too. Nothing wrong with that. So, let's see. Oh yeah. So if you don't know, Katie Joy is a well-known YouTuber. I don't think she's that well-known. I mean, again, not trying to split hairs here, but I do think that gives Katie Joy far more credibility than she deserves. I don't think she's that well-known as a YouTuber. None of us are, right? I mean, I'm certainly not. But I don't think that was a phrase I would be using per se, but whatever. I mean, I can say why she used it. I would say well-known within the commentary community as being a dishonest gossip monger. Sure. Yeah, I would go with that. Additionally, she runs an Instagram account under the name of Without Crystal Ball. Well, Steve joins the growing list of people who claim her allegations them are biased and fake. Yeah, and then some. It's not that they were biased and fake, they were fabricated. There's a difference between getting shit wrong and just, taking things out of context and getting things fundamentally and factually incorrect. What Katie did was fabricate. She fabricated a story that when her and I were in a room together, I sexually harassed her. This was not just something that was taken out of context. This is something that never fucking happened. It's not even reality. And so for her to try to levy that charge against me, even though that she had never been I've never been in a room with her because I've never been in her state, but she meant that as, it was a pre-call or call show of the show before we went live on air that I was with her, calling it a room in order to try to try to make it sound more impressive. Oh, when we were in a room together, Steve did this. Okay, well, no, I've never been in a room with her. But, unbeknownst to her, we actually go by facts here. And the fact is that David, our producer, was always in a call with all of us. Always. He started the phone call, what's called VMix, or V-call for VMix. He would always start that call, give us a link, we would join, and he would always be there. And then, of course, Kyle would be as well. There was never a time that I was alone with Katie Joy, ever, in any call, and never. And Dave, the producer, had noted this. He had actually written, and it's on my blog, I think in the video description, if I put it in there, that you can go read Dave's comment saying, Katie, you're lying about this. This never happened. I'm the producer. I was in all these calls. You're lying through your teeth, which is a fabrication, which to me shows malicious intent. So, like I said, there's to me a different degrees of dishonesty. When you absolutely go out of your way to fabricate something that absolutely nothing happened, you are evil. You're saying your truth. You're not saying how you interpreted things, which at least can be subject, some subjectivity. You're making shit up. There's a huge difference. And I think that there's a correlation here between my case and Todd Chrisley's case, where Todd Chrisley has said to Katie Joy, you have said that you have spoken with somebody from the show, Chrisley Knows Best, aka an anonymous person, a producer. I think they were a producer. I don't remember where I saw that, though. So let me know if you guys can remember where she ever said he was a producer she talked to. I would be greatly appreciative. I don't remember her saying it was a producer, but other people have said they've seen her say it was a producer that she talked to. Not that it makes a significant amount of difference, but I am curious. And so Todd Chrisley has says, okay, you said you've talked to somebody from the show that believes you that Todd Chrisley and Chase, which is Todd Chrisley's son, and Lindsay's half brother, that supposedly Chase had bought this VHS tape for $5,000 of Lindsay having sex with some other man other than her husband, and him and Todd Chrisley were blackmailing her with it, saying that if you do not lie to authorities on an unrelated case, unrelated lawsuit having to do with taxes for Todd Chrisley, we'll release the tape. Now, I believe wholeheartedly none of this ever happened. None of this ever happened. Matter of fact, I think Chase is probably going to end up suing her for that allegation. And I'm pretty damn well sure that Lindsay is seriously thinking about suing her as well, from what I've read on Twitter, at least sending her a C&D, cease and desist, because her lawyers are reaching out to Katie, according to Lindsay. So there will be probably more lawsuits brought just on that allegation, because Todd Chrisley, I have no doubt, believes that she did not talk to anybody. And Todd Chrisley, as a celebrity or a public figure, and by the way, I am not a public figure. I didn't mention this when I did the review of Uncivil Law's review of my claim, which, by the way, go check out. I think it was pretty good. Go check out my channel, my review of Uncivil Law's claim. I gave him, I was pretty fair to him. I thought he did a decent job. But he said somewhere in that video that I didn't address, and I should have, and I apologize, but he had said that I might have somehow become a limited public figure. And that is not the case. I am not a public figure, and I'm not even a limited public figure because I'm nobody of note. This right here is not a nationally syndicated, or it's not like a newsworthy type thing. This is not like it's in CNN or anything like that. Nobody's ever cited me for anything, right? I'm not a noteworthy person. I'm not in Wikipedia, except for I have two references to. I have one reference to the Non Sequitur Show and one reference to the Great Debate Channel, I think, on Wikipedia, but under my name, so my name is on Wikipedia, but I am not a public figure, limited or otherwise. A limited public figure is somebody, because of something that has happened in the news, has thrust you in the limelight. I'm not thrust in the limelight. There's no news agencies covering this like CNN or NBC or anything like that. So I would not reach the status of limited public figure. They can argue that, but it's not going to fly. Civil Law said because a YouTuber, you might be a limited public figure. From when I've looked into this, being a YouTuber it's not constitutive of what can be considered a limited public figure. Being public is not the same as being a public figure. They're not the same things. I'm public. My information is public. This is public, but does not make me a public figure, limited or otherwise, nor would I ever want to be one. Those guys get their whole lives dissected. Well, not that I haven't already. What would be the big deal, I guess, right? I just had a full background check done on me. And when you do a report in California, you can actually check a box and you get a copy yourself. So yeah, I was like, I want a copy myself, even though I've had one before and I knew it was, what was or not in there. And I can't, I get my thing and it's just, not found, as in like clear. Like, every database you look for my name, there's nothing to it. I've never been arrested or anything. So, this isn't SMNBC. That's good. If I think I use that, I'd probably get sued. Steve McCrae, NBC. The Peacock. But I think there's a correlation here, to get back to where I was trying to go with this. I think there's a correlation between Katie Joy lying about not talking to somebody from the show, because if Todd Chrisley can show that was untrue, that would merit to say that it was malice. There'd be reasons to say that she willfully and dishonestly fabricated something which was intent that reaches the level of maliciousness, which it clearly would. I don't think anybody would argue otherwise. If you're arguing that fabricating that kind of story to slander somebody isn't malicious, I don't know what your idea of malicious is then. Of course it would be malicious. because it shows willful forethought, right? And so he knows very well that she didn't talk to anybody. And so she said that she only was contacted by somebody who was anonymous to her, which, again, would screw her because she didn't do her due diligence by finding out who she talked to. That doesn't cover her. If I just say, hey, look, somebody called me up and they said something famous person did this or this, and I put that out as a factual statement, I could be held liable. Right? You're repeating something that is false. Just because you've heard it somewhere doesn't matter. If it's an actual source, that's a different story. If I know the person and I know if I verify they were an actual producer, I know their name and all their information, which an actual reporter would do, which she's not, then you can say, look, I'm not going to give you the information because it's an anonymous source, but I know who they are. She didn't say that. She said they're anonymous to her, which screwed herself. Because now Todd Chrisley knows that even if she did talk to somebody, she doesn't know who that person is, which means that it would be malicious because she went recklessly with the information anyways. So recklessness would be, I think, to reach the standard of malice. And again, I'm not a lawyer, not claiming to be a lawyer. I'm not giving any legal advice. If there's lawyers out there that want to pan me or, crap on me or say that I'm completely hosed, be my freaking guest. I don't care. But I can't imagine any lawyer thinking otherwise. I mean, come on. If somebody willfully and deliberately says some things about you, how is that not malicious, right? It reaches the standard of malicious because, again, malice requires forethought, intent. It's intentionality, and there's an intent there to slander myself, intent there to slander Chrisley, intent there to slander all the people that she's ever, talked about and said things that were false. I think there's obviously an intent there. I think there's vexatious in all of it. So he knows that if she can't produce that in 17 more days, he's pretty much got a winning case. I think he's got a winning case anyways, but that is the nail in the coffin, so to speak. She has 20 days from the 27th, I think it was, to produce a discovery. And in that discovery, I know Todd is asking for the name of the person that she talked to. And her lawyer has already said that he will be happy to comply. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that he'd be happy to comply. That was my words, not his. But her lawyer has said that they will comply with the discovery. Now, here's the issue. What is there to comply if she hasn't talked to anybody? And I know we're getting far from this thing here, but that's okay. That's fine. Again, I want to keep this to an hour if I can. But what are her options? And so her options are, well, she can produce the name of the person. She can try to run the defense, which is a reporter and doesn't have to produce the name. That's not going to fly. I will tell you right now, that's not going to fly. She's not covered for any reason on that, and he has every right to confront the person who said this. And she would be in contempt of court if she doesn't produce the name. I will bet you anything on that. That if that's the route she's going to try to go, which she's kind of already tried to go in public domain, that she's going to get screwed on that. I don't think she's tried to do that legally per se yet. I mean, maybe in passing, maybe in the complaint, in the cross complaint, one of them she did. I don't know. No, she hasn't done the cross complaint yet. She hasn't countersued yet. But I think she has said that as a reporter, she doesn't have to give the name up in the in one of the filings. I just don't remember what it was. But regardless, that's not going to fly. So I think that the courts have told her that she has to give up that information. I think that's already the way I read the discovery request. The way it's written as far as the motion, you have 20 days to comply to this. I think that's what it implies. Again, ask a lawyer if that's what it means. I think it does, but I admit I could be wrong on that, right? But if she doesn't have the name, then what is her lawyer going to do? They're going to have to say, we don't have that information. And then, of course, the courts can use that information in order to adjudicate on it, right? If you say, okay, you don't have the information, then we can imply that you lied about it. We can imply that what you said was false. She can be sanctioned in some ways, maybe, if she doesn't produce the discovery. If she admits she doesn't have it, I don't know if she could be sanctioned. You can't produce something you don't have, right? So I don't know why you'd be sanctioned for that. But it would be really to Todd's Chrisley's benefit if she just says, look, I don't have that information. Because then it would be like, okay, she now admits she doesn't have it, which means that she didn't do her due diligence. She didn't talk to anybody. She has no conversation with anybody, right? So we can infer from that she was lying about that. Absolutely, that's what I think is going to happen. Starletta says she cannot lie. I don't think she knows how to tell the truth. Yeah, she has actually said that before, that she lacks the ability to lie. Now, you know what's so funny? Because somebody, I don't know where it was, but somebody had confused me with Katie Joy at one time. I remember reading this, and I don't remember where it's from. Screenshot stuff somebody sent me, I think. But somebody had said that I had said at one time that I am incapable of lying. And I'm like, you've never watched my shit. I've obviously said I'm not against lying in the Kantian sense. A Kantian ethicist would say you should never lie. I don't believe that. I think there are times to lie, but I think it should be whether it's self-serving or not, and what's the reasons behind your lie. I very much believe that there should be virtuous lies. You don't want to hurt somebody's feeling. We can all do that. We can all have the potential to lie. The problem is that not all of us have the potential to tell the truth, right? So yeah, that's her problem. She only tells the truth when it benefits her. And then when it doesn't, she'll lie when it benefits her. This is a dishonest person. But for her to say that she cannot lie, that blows my mind. Of course she can lie. She does it frequently. And that in itself is a lie. I mean, it's like inceptual lying. Lying inception. But yeah, but I remember somebody said like, oh, Steve says he's incapable of lying. I'm like, where the frick did I ever say that? I've never said no to this thing. If I lie, it's usually because I want to save somebody's feelings. And it's not when I'm on air. It's my personal life kind of stuff more than anything like that. And it's very, very rare that I've ever had to do it. And even then, it's more of a lie of omission than anything else. I'm thinking to myself, look, if I say this to this person, even though I know I'm right or believe that I'm right, it's going to hurt their feelings. There are ways to be tactful about it, and I strongly believe that. I don't find any dishonesty with that. You're doing it to help somebody else rather than harm them. And I think that we should be tactful like that. There's nothing wrong with lying if it's done for that reason. It's when lying is self-serving and is fabricated like what Katie does. That's not ethical. That's dishonesty. There's a huge difference there. Be Free. By the way, hi, Be Free. How are you today, Be Free? Be Free says, wasn't it said in an anonymous source from the production team on the set of CKB? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the anonymous source said they were a producer, but if that's the case, where did she say that the anonymous source said they were a producer? That's what I'm asking, right? Or the production team, whatever that means. The production team doesn't necessarily have to be a producer. The production team could be anything from like maybe the graph to the editor. Anybody who's doing the production, I guess. But yeah, it could be anyone on the show, right? A production team member could be anybody involved in the show. It doesn't have to be producer. I thought they said producer. Now, again, I could be wrong on that, but it doesn't really matter. Somebody supposedly involved with the show. So if they can show that didn't happen, they can show malice. And the same thing that she can't show, for example, that any death threats were sent to her or anybody else, from myself, by Aaron, EKC People Suck, or by Tina. Tina, I'll cut you. These three people, myself and those other people, I know for an actual fact, had nothing to do with anything she ever talked about. Well, at least I know for a fact with me, and I believe very strongly. Well, I'm going to say I'm going to know. I'm not going to say I believe. I have so much faith and confidence in this to justify saying I know Aaron and Tina had nothing to do with it. I'll say no, because it is true. They didn't. I believe it, and I'm justified. And, the fact that she went out of her way to try to say that we were involved in things we weren't involved in, yeah, she was wrong about that. And they're slanderous. So when she said also things like, oh, Steve committed sexual harassment, which, by the way, she reneged on that, and then she kind of changed her story once again and said it was just uncomfortable. And then she's like saying, oh, you can't tell me I can't say it was sexual harassment. It was. Okay, there needs to be evidence for this. There is zero evidence for this. She's never produced or will produce any shred of evidence for this. It never freaking happened. In fact, I have exculpatory evidence that it never freaking happened. I have conversation with her well after the last time she's ever been on air with me. She makes no mention of it whatsoever. Pretty odd, huh? Right? I mean, and not only that, she had lied and said that I had sent her an email saying that if she didn't give me an apology video, I would whatever, what was her words?
Destroy her, I think her words were. Destroy her. That never happened. I never said any such thing in email or otherwise. She has never received an email from me. I've never sent her an email, so that would be impossible. And so these are all things that she would have to produce in evidence when in the full discovery. Now we are in discovery where it's called pre-discovery, meaning we have a preliminary things of who the people would be, the witnesses and stuff like that. So it is in the discovery stage in that nature. But I don't know what we've turned over to them, and I don't know what they've turned over to us. But we do have what's called pre-discovery, which is a sheet that comes out that says, okay, this is what we want, talk about. This is what this is the witnesses. And so that information would have to be provided to us if she has it. There's nothing there. She has no information on that. I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, she has not a single shred of evidence that I or Tina or Aaron sent any death threats. Not a single shred of evidence that I've sexually harassed her or said anything that's to her that she has said I said in a pre-hangout or in a room. I will stake everything I have on that, and have. That's why I've sued her. It's cost a lot of my own money to sue her. Not because I expect to get any kind of huge amount back. It is because I want people to know that she lied. To me, the money is worth spending, because if it ever comes up later on, somewhere down the line, I now have something to fall back on and say, look, here's all the story on this. She lied about this, and she was sued on these other defamation things. Her credibility is shot. That's what I want. And I think that's pretty much what Todd wants as well, as far as he wants justice. He wants Katie Joy to admit that she lied about all this stuff, right? I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about her admitting that she lied about these things. And I think that's why they can never negotiate, because she will never admit that she lied to it. She'd rather take the loss. She'd rather take the hit, which I think is incredible as a mother, that she's willing to lose millions, whatever she's worth, her entire net worth. Let's say she's net worth is, even if I had to push it and give her benefit of the doubt, let's say she can afford 2 Bentleys. Let's say she's worth $500,000. Okay? She's willing to risk all of that rather than admit she lied. What does that tell you about narcissists? That's what a narcissist does. Look at Kyle. Kyle went to jail because of narcissism. Kyle went to jail because he was unwilling to admit that he lied about me and other things, and unwilling to admit that he fabricated data to his lawyer. Right? His lawyer had to quit because he fabricated data and records to the court, because he's a narcissist. That's what they do. I am convinced she's willing to lose every dime she has, her house, her car, everything, rather than admit that she lied on any of this. That's mental. That's mental. Mama Jack says, have you paid back Rez anything he asked? No, Rez, why would I'm not paying. There's nothing to pay back. Yeah, there's nothing to pay back. I did exactly what, by the way, I kept my promise to Rez. I promised Rez that somebody would get every dime that was owed to them, and I paid exactly what that was owed to them, to the penny, pretty much. So I kept my promise. That's all that needs to be done. Star Lily says, she isn't a reporter or a journalist. She's a damn YouTuber, nothing more. Well, of course, and that's going to be brought up. I think there's going to be some interesting things that may come out of that, though. The Supreme Court has determined that YouTubers are not journalists. They're not reporters. And so there has to be, when I read into this, when I was looking into this, and again, take it for what it's worth. I'm not a lawyer. Go find a lawyer to ask. Emily D. Baker would be, of course, the person that would probably be the best to ask on this. But from what I read, in order to be considered legally, as far as, courts and things like that, as somebody that could be called to a witness as far as a journalist or a reporter, they have to either work directly for a news organization or an independent contractor for them. Okay? So she's not an independent contractor for any news organization, indirect or directly. She doesn't work for any. So it's not a matter of having like credentials. It doesn't matter like, if you have a press pass or something like that. Are you working for a organization that has hired you to do reporting or journalism for them? That's the way I interpret it. And yes, I do believe in some degree, like I tend to free speech, right? I'm not a strict absolutist, but I think free speech is important. And I do think we are the press. I do think that the people are the press. I have no problem with that. I believe in everybody as far as the ability to go out and record and to, film film in public and all this stuff, that's fine. You have every right to do all that stuff, right? Under whatever local ordinances and certain guidelines, time, place, and manner things. But I do believe very strongly that we, the people, are also the press. That doesn't make you a reporter or a journalist. That a press is a very specific term used for that for the Constitution. Well, it's not in the Constitution, but for constitutional law. Well, I know freedom of the press, right? Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. So I think that would be anybody, but that doesn't make you a reporter, right? So I agree with you, and I think that's going to be something to be said on that when how that's ruled, if she's considered to be a reporter or not. I of course don't think she is. I don't know how the court would rule on that. I think they do want obviously that adjudicated, I'm sure, whether she is or not. So, but I do think that in the Constitution under the First Amendment, when it talks about freedom of the press, I kind of do think that it involves anybody. I do think the people in that case are the press. That's just me, though. So, all right. So moving on. Boy, that's a long. We haven't got very far in here. And okay, sorry, guys. Well, you know what? Sorry, not sorry. Whatever. B-Free says, "Hi, hey, Steve. I'm doing good. Listening while I'm cook dinner. Good. Well, you know what? That's the best kind of thing to listen to when you're doing something. Is stuff like this. I do it all the time too. Can put something in the background, and I'll like doing whatever, cooking or whatever, and I'll just listen to the background. That's how I listen to most stuff. I mean, or I'll sit and I'll listen, but I'll be doing something else. Like I'll be playing a game, or I'll be researching something, or I'll be doing something on the channels, and then I'm just listening to Aaron at 1.5 speed. By the way, don't listen to Aaron at 2 speed. It's a little much. Okay, 1.5 speed is optimal. Some people are gonna listen to 2 speed when they speak very slowly. Then 2 speed is fine, but yeah. Mojak says, from my understanding, Rez donated to help with the court case, and all that money went to legal fees. He resents ever doing that for you and respectfully asked for his money back. I respectfully declined and resent him for asking it back when it went to the services that were provided. Yeah, that doesn't work that way. So, yeah, I respectfully declined because that's just idiotic. It went to legal fees. The court case used money. To get even where we are right now, it costs money, and all that money went to legal fees. So I don't see the problem. I did exactly what it was supposed to be. And by the way, there was one person who actually, I particularly think, scammed GoFundMe because they lied to GoFundMe and said they had a fraudulent charge on their card. It didn't come out of my bank account. Once you go to your bank account, it's in your bank account. They can't take money back from your bank account. GoFundMe had to eat certain things. If you think it's fraudulent, they will investigate. But yeah, that's not on me. So I think if you want to lie to a credit card company and say you had a fraudulent charge and look like an idiot, be my guest. But like I said, it won't come out of my bank account. Tucker Carlson April says Tucker Carlson works for a news organization, but he's gotten off on a defamation at least twice by claiming his show is entertainment only, and is ridiculous and nobody can possibly take. Yeah, I know. That's take him seriously. Yeah, that is true. That's actually a true story that he does say that it's for entertainment. But I don't know how he got off on that when he's portrayed as being a news person, right? I mean, but clearly he's made false statements that if they're defamatory, yeah, I don't know how he can claim that it's for entertainment purposes when look, if you want to ruin your characters, your character and say, look, I'm Tucker Carlson, I can't be taken seriously, I just lie for a living in order to get out of a defamation lawsuit. That's pretty ballsy, I guess, right? All right, moving on here. The non sequitur show is not the only lawsuit against Katie Joy. No, it's not. And by the way, it's not the non sequitur show that's suing her. It's so little on the headline there, but that's okay. It says recently the news arrived that Robert Shin brought a lawsuit against Katie Joy. If you don't know, he founded the I cannot pronounce how it was. Shenika. No, that's what it is. Shenika, I think, Church. And 7M Films Productions and Management. Earlier this month, Katie told her Instagram followers that she was ready for a fight. Oh, really?
Yeah. According to The Sun, it started when Without a Crystal Ball alleged that the businesses are just part of a cult. Basically, it tied into the claim initially that the, quote, family of TikToker Miranda Derrick, they claim that Shin involved Miranda in a cult and that, quote, brainwashed top dance stars. Okay, so in that 7M Productions lawsuit, which you guys all have probably read by now, they point out some very specific defamational claims made by Katie that Katie has said against Robert Shin and 7M Film Productions, which are independent organizations, from what I understand. From what I understand, the church and the production team are absolutely isolated from each other, from what I understand. And so she's making all these hyperbolic defamational claims that have actually caused torturous interference between 7M and contracts that they have with various organizations, one of which I believe was the LA Clippers. Yeah, cult is her favorite word. Now again, I think she got that, from back in the day. She stole a lot from, I understand she plagiarized a lot of material from Suzanne from Costa Rica. And so she always been, for some reason, fascinated by cults. And so that's kind of her go-to defamatory claim. She, I had claimed that I was involved in a cult. She's claimed that other people involved in a cult. I think all you guys are in a cult. And it's like, okay, well, what do you mean by this word? Because this word doesn't mean what I think you think it means. And when you use the term cult against a organization like a production company that costs them revenue and costs them, contracts, that becomes a problem, right? That becomes a problem. And so she has to defend her actions on this. She has to show that what she has said is true. And she can't just claim that she's heard it somewhere. She can't, because that's not the case. She actually made a lot of stuff up. Yeah. Momo Jack, I've already answered you. I am a good person, and I use the funds for what they went to supposed to be. I think Rez, as a good person, would understand that. I'm not addressing that any further. I apologize, but the funds went to where they're supposed to go, and I kept my promise to Rez. Rez should be thankful, that I kept my promise to him. Not that I wouldn't anyways, but I kept my promise to him. The monies that came in, that he told me, all I care about is that what I donated goes where it was supposed to go. That's what he told me, Momo Jack. That's what I did. There you go. So I don't know why you're bringing it up, because I satisfied the requirements that Rez asked for, that I did, because I keep my word, Yes, I do. So that's all that needs to be said on that. So I appreciate it, Momo, but I kept my promise to Rez. So, all right, moving on. Apparently, the family had no proof, but Katie, well known for her opinions, decided to pursue the story. Now, from what I understand, like I said, Miranda's family was kind of saying that Miranda was somehow brainwashed by 7M Films or Robert Shin, and they told her how to dance, how to wear what outfits to wear, and basically what a cult would do, right? Isolated them from friends and family, and said, this. She kind of ran with it. I know what the family had said, but Katie ran with it as some kind of factual stuff. So it wasn't like she was reporting on what was said so much as taking what was said and then narrating it on it and adding things to it and embellishing it and stating it as fact. This person has done this. This person, this. These are factual statements. These are either true or false in a court of law. She didn't say that, this news source says this about that, right? That's a big difference. If it's a public news source and you're just repeating what the news source says, you can do that. That's repeatability. But when you claim that actually is the case and you're defaming somebody, that is not. So, and I like this. She says the family had no proof. Yeah, I haven't seen any proof either from the family. I've heard what the family has said, but I have not seen any evidence or proof from the family. Actually, other folks, she goes on to say, since then, plenty of allegations arose on her Without a Crystal Ball's channels. Yes, they did. You have a lot of allegations, and they're all enumerated very specifically on the plaintiff's motion and complaint, the complaint with Miranda and Miranda's husband, all of which have been added now to the complaint. Actually, other folks also have brought lawsuits against Katie Joy in the past. Toddy Westbrook, for example. And they include famous comedian Todd Chrisley from the USA Network's Chrisley Knows Best. Yes. And even though that she doesn't mention Taddy Westbrook's lawsuit for defamation, we should keep in mind that. We've got to remember that. And this journalist here is keeping tabs on Todd Chrisley's lawsuit. She's done other articles on that as well. If you go look at this this site, Soap Opera Spy, there's other articles on her about Katie on this as well. So others, according to Inflow Network, included. Oh, she did mention. I'm sorry, my bad. I forgot. She did mention Toddy. Others, according to the Inflow Network, include beauty influencer Toddy Westbrook. Well, the Non Sequitur Show founder, that was me. I was a co-founder. I'm going to go with co-founder. I mean, I'm not going to diminish that with Kyle. I'm not that much of an asshole. I was co-founder, but whatever. Steve McRae now joins a list of people suing Katie Joy for allegedly telling lies about him. Yeah, that's what. Now she has the word allegedly, obviously, but I will tell you right now, they were defamational. They were lies. I mean, can anybody tell me at all how they weren't lies when she says things that are not true? That's lying. I mean, she knows that they're not true. She knew they were not true because she repeated them later on multiple times. The Non Sequitur Show drama cost Steve McRae his rep. Yeah, I think that it did affect the reputation of the Non Sequitur Show and my channels when you still have idiots going around saying that, oh, Steve had a restraining order, which I never had. Again, go look at the law. Steve was, they was so egregious, the sexual harassment of Katie Joy, a person he's never met in real life, that the judge sua sponte put it under VAWA, which would have been possible because VAWA was no longer funded after 2019. That never happened. And I brought that up when I did a review on Uncivil Law's review, that Uncivil Law was saying, is the complaint here saying that the judge didn't file it under VAWA or the judge didn't file it sua sponte? Not that it makes a world of difference. But I think Uncivil is right, actually. I think that it should have been worded a little bit clearer of what it was that we were saying that was wrong about it. I do agree with him on that. But what was wrong with that is that the judge never filed anything, period, under VAWA. The judge never saw the evidence. You don't see the evidence until the hearing. All the judge sees is an affidavit saying, okay, and uncivil law is very much correct. You assume everything is true until the hearing. And then you have to duke it out, kind of, so to speak. You show the evidence, and whoever shows the best evidence, ponderance of the evidence, whatever their deciding factor is, then they win the lawsuit, or they get the restraining order, whatever. But she had never shown any of that evidence to the judge. All the judge looks at is the affidavit. They assume it's true. Okay, if this is true, is this enough to warrant getting a temporary until we can adjudicate getting an RO? Yeah. That's what she put down would be sufficient, but what she put down was a lie. She put down that we were in a room together, that I sexually harassed her. We were never in a room together. She alleged that I took photographs of her and her child. I've never been in the same state as this woman. What she was referring to in her mind was that I took a video off her channel and I put it on Twitter and asked a question about her son being what Katie meant by medically fragile child. And I just referred to a video saying he looks pretty normal. I mean, I know that he has issues. I understand that. I never denied that. She lied about that too, saying Steve says my son has never been sick or anything like that. I've never said anything of the sort. But I asked a question and I got vilified for that. I mean, I had some really stupid people out there going, why would you ask this kind of question? Why? Because I'd like to know what she means by this. And now everybody's asking that question, right? Now everybody is going, holy shit, there's a problem here. No shit. I knew that how long ago and I got vilified for it? Todd Chrisley asked the same kind of questions and stuff like that. Like, what is going on here? Why is she using her son to shield stuff? And so, and Todd Chrisley never said that the kid wasn't sick or anything like that. At least at one time. Who knows what's going on now? But the fact that she had reworded these things to say Steve had taken photos of me and my child, that's dishonest because that never happened. So you can say whatever you want in an affidavit to get a temporary. And what the judge does is say, okay, if all this is true, is this sufficient to get an ex parte temporary restraining order? And no, a restraining order is not a subset A temporary restraining order is not a subset of restraining order. They're vastly different things in Minnesota. The statute's written completely different for them. There's two different things. Even though it has RO in the name, it's like saying, oh, I have a temporary cure. Well, that's not a cure. Just because it says cure in it doesn't mean it's a cure. So, again, people are really stupid when they try to manipulate words and things of that nature to try to get a better argument. It's just playing word games and semantics. But when the law is out there, the law will tell you the TRO and an RO are not the same thing. So when she goes out of her way on these types of information to actually lie in order to get something established, she's done this on other affidavits as well, relating to these, like the counterclaim she done to me. She lied on that too. She said that I fabricated screenshots that I never fabricated. But all this stuff requires evidence, right? And so, as Civil pointed out, a claim just says, okay, is there enough to adjudicate this? Is enough what's called the burden of production to take this to trial? Yeah, if not, then we get a motion to dismiss. Every one of these has reached the bare minimum to, one, be served, and I believe be adjudicated, right? There's no reason to dismiss any of them. The motion to be dismissed by saying under the rules of law under Minnesota, I believe it's Rule 12 for rules of... rules, was it 12.01 or something? But Rule 12, if I'm not mistaken, is the rules of the court to say, look, there's no cause for relief on this because the person filed the wrong jurisdiction. Therefore, a motion to dismiss. Or there's no moving thing to say that this can be adjudicated because the statement was not defamational. If I say Todd is a poopy head, that's obviously opinion. So if I said, hey, court, motion to dismiss, saying Todd's a poopy head is nothing that's actionable. It's not defamation, and nothing needs to be adjudicated. It's self-evident that's not defamation per se. Then you can have it dismissed, right? So there's nothing to as a cause of relief. Then you can ask for a motion to dismiss. So April says, you can be the founder, Steve. The winners all rewrite history. Fair point. Thank you. But well, I mean, it's not wrong. I mean, I was a founder, but it's a co-founder. But yeah. Will the court take into consideration other lawsuits? Be free ask. I believe so. I believe there's going to be some crossover on these things. I believe so. Because you got to remember, 7M lawsuit has explicitly mentioned in their complaint on lines 14, 15, and 16, I believe it was, there have been other YouTubers that have been harmed by Katie. Just saying. They're well aware there's other YouTubers. They're well aware of Todd. They're well aware of me. They're well aware of Toddy. They're well aware of all these things. The lawyers know all this information. Yeah, so. Yeah, for like a pattern behavior, it's possible. Like I said, it's certainly going to be very problematic to her when it is brought up that there are other YouTubers that have, claimed defamation, and yeah, it doesn't look good. I mean, if you were a journalist and you went to go to NBC and they found that you had, 2, 3, it's just three. Let's just say four total if you count mine pending. Or even if it's just 3, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you have 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever defamation lawsuits against you, do you think they're going to hire you? You're a high risk at that point. You're a high risk. Unless you get them, dismissed, or unless you get them adjudicated in your favor, it does look pretty bad. Now, again, I don't think that people should be judged on things that have not been adjudicated. I get that, right? If it's not been adjudicated that she had committed defamation, then I don't really think that even if we went for a job, it should be held against her. That's just how I think. However, it is a cause of concern, and she at least would have to justify to the employer, why is it all these people are suing you? And if she can justify it decently enough, fine. But I don't think she can if people actually look into the case. If they actually read the case, they go, look, yeah, what you said was wrong. I mean, what you said, you lied. You falsely accused somebody of sexually harassing you, and it's completely false that the judge put it into VAWA because the VAWA didn't exist. That's just a lie. So, let's see here. Okay, so in an exclusive discussion with us, and it was exclusive at the time, I might do
for future ones. But at the time, she was the only one that I discussed this with. This is true. However, there's other organizations out there. I'm happy to talk to them. If somebody wants me to interview me on their channel, happy to do it. I want my story out there. I want people to know that this YouTuber is lying about me and many other people. So it says, in an exclusive discussion with Steve McRae claimed, quote, Katie filed a TRO against me and 2 others, all of which were legally fought against, and all 3 were dropped. That is a statement of fact. That is a statement of fact. Then he noted, I too am suing Ms. Paulsen for defamation. Again, statement of fact. According to Steve, Ms. Paulsen got her YouTube start from my channel, The Non Sequitur Show. He explained, I sued my former business partner and his co-host, Ms. Paulsen. Wasn't, yeah, I mean, this is not false. It's not false. Because that is what I said, but just to let you know, she was a co-host for the Smoking Nun, not so much the Non Sequitur Show, even though maybe that's splitting hairs, maybe. But yeah, this is not wrong. It's just splitting hairs. Steve continued alleging Katie falsely accused me of fraud, medical fraud, social security fraud, disability fraud, sending death threats, and sexual harassment, none of which ever happened. Absolutely true statement. Fraud never happened. Medical fraud never happened. Social security fraud I've never collected in my life. Disability I've never collected in my life. I've never sent a death threat. She had said that she had verified death threats came from my account, which she did not do. And sexual harassment, which never happened. I never sent anything to her about any such thing. Never have hit. Oh my God, did I not hit on this woman? No way, shape, or form. I'm mortified by that. I am sickened by that. It disgusts me. And yeah, that's something that. Oh, you know what's so funny? Of all the people that have been on the show, we've had a lot of guests on the show that happen to be Katie. Out of all the people that have been on the show, all the women that have been on that show, claim that I sexually harassed them. If that's not beyond my imagination, I don't know what would be. That her narcissism is such that she thinks that she is so all that I, of all people that have been very reserved on the Non Sequitur Show and treated my guest very respectfully, would somehow lose my objectivity and sexually harass her. That blows my fucking mind, to be honest with you. That to me is a degree of narcissism that is only matched by Kyle's. And then I have a screenshot here that she got that I gave to them. I gave them a few. They picked this one. Katie Joy. This was 12 June of 2019. Oh my God, we already got an hour. Holy crap, that went longer than I thought. Oh well. I always say we're not going to be very long. I would go for 90 minutes. According to Steve. Miss Paulsen got her YouTube start from my. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah. On the screenshot here, June 12th, 2019. Yes, he doesn't want to be paid because the income would look like income and he would lose his disability. Okay. First of all, why would I not want to get paid? When did this happen? Who doesn't want to get paid? I did a year and a half worth of work, which is $30,000, and I didn't get a dime of it yet. Why would I not want to get paid? That's stupid. Because he loses disability. Let me make it clear for the people in the back. I have never collected disability ever in my life, VA or otherwise. State, nothing. Federal, nothing. I don't know how fucking difficult that is to wrap your head around that I could have not had this happen. Why would I not want to be paid because my income would be such that I lose disability that I don't have? I mean, it's prima facie false. It is defamation per se right there that she made a false statement that she cannot prove because I don't collect disability. That was malicious and intentional. So he wants money under the table. I never said no such thing. Matter of fact, idiot's going, well, there's a video saying that there was Steve said cash, blah, blah. That's already been explained a million times. There's nothing in that would be ever brought up in a court of law of any relevance. And she says, which means he wants to not report the income. No, I actually asked Kyle, how are we doing this taxation-wise? How is this being reported? I have no problem with that, but I want to make sure it's done right. That's it. And so when did that ever happen? Steve has asked Kyle to aid and abet him in criminal activities. When we found out legally that was false. We found out through the court system, through North Carolina court system, in the Non Sequitur Show case, that Kyle did the criminal activities, not me.
Sorry, was I a little loud on that? This has a automatic gain thing where it's supposed to like limit a compression, so it shouldn't have been too loud. But did you hear that, April? Did you hear that? I've never collected disability, nor have I collected Social Security. So the judge never filed anything under VAWA. The VAWA expired. So again, Katie lied on all this stuff. You got to be real dumb at this point to believe Katie on anything, especially something that's you can go look and spend 30 seconds looking and find that all this was a lie. All right. The Non Sequitur Show has about 29,000 followers on YouTube at the moment, which is true. I haven't been trying to push subs that much, and that's my fault. Steve claimed in his blog, quote, within a year and a half, the show had amassed millions of views, tens of thousands of followers, netted tens of thousands of dollars, reaching a fair market value of around $98,000, which is all true. But Mr. Curtis apparently tried to remove his partner, Steve McRae, and the producer from the show and continue the show with Katie Joy and others as co-hosts and moderators. That is absolutely true. That is an accurate quote. The quote shouldn't have been about Mr. Curtis, but it should be the rest of it. Because I think I sent to her like he tried to remove me and the producer, something like that. I don't remember exactly what I said to her, but it's as far as content, yes, absolutely. That's exactly what Kyle did, right? So he did try to carry on with Katie and other co-hosts that were just as dishonest as he was. Many of them are still around, like Jimmy Snow, Godless Engineer. I mean, they knew what he was doing was wrong. They didn't care. They have no ethics whatsoever. I'm sorry. They will forever, to me, be known as unethical people. The Non-Sequitur Show lawsuit fundraiser. Steve, who says he lost a lot of reputation and income from the Non-Sequitur Show, started a GoFundMe after other legal avenues were discussed with his legal team. Yes. Now, I do have a legal team. I mean, there are 3. I know I have 2 lawyers, and a third I know who she is, but I don't know if she's a paralegal or a lawyer. I'm not sure. But I didn't use the word legal team. I know Katie does that, although at the time she only had 1 person. That's not a team. Now she has 2 people. Maybe that is a legal team, but I didn't use the phrase legal team. You can read much more about it if you visit his link here. Basically, Steve hopes to file his complaint in the state as he faced a countersuit by Katie Joy, which, by the way, Katie suit, we're going to have a motion to dismiss on that when we need to, if I can file before the deadline. We're just going to do a motion to dismiss on that for no grounds. There's nothing in that countersuit. It is frivolous. It is nonsensical. She is claiming that I done something that I could not have done, which she has to produce evidence for. That never happened. We know she didn't. We know that didn't happen. She knows it didn't happen. She claims that I had fabricated screenshots from very specific incidents relating back to December 2019. That these screenshots that I got from somebody else, that I have a record of where they came from and how they came about, as far as after they were released public or made known unto me. That's all that matters. I did not make them, and she claimed that I did. That's a falsity. That's a lie, and she knows that I didn't. But it says, however, it will cost lots of money and hopes to raise $10,000 to $15,000 to help him pay for it. Yes. Unfortunately, it's nowhere near that at this point. It doesn't look like it's going to reach that. However, I have gone back to work. I'm trying to get income, working. And if I could pay for the lawsuit via that means, that's fine as well. Unfortunately, my lawyer is a lot more expensive than I had anticipated, which sucks. And what I would try to do is go down to make sure they only use one lawyer or one of the junior partners, junior lawyers, and not use so much of the other person's time, which is costing a lot of money. So I'm going to have to work something out. Now, normally, sometimes you can do what's called a contingency. But unfortunately, my lawyers, for some reason, and I don't think they're maybe that wrong, they're not sure Katie has anything to be contingent on. They're not sure if they would do a contingent arrangement, the way you get like 33 1/3% if you win, that she has anything to actually take, or especially after the other lawsuits are done, she's going to have anything to take. Because the problem is creditors come in the order by which they occur, from what I understand. So if there's a judgment against her, which would happen first through Chrisley's case and or 7M's case, those have to be done first. And both of them are asking for a large amount of money. Now, Chrisley says he's only asking for 50. That's not exactly the case. Well, I shouldn't say it. Chrisley's not saying that. His complaint is saying that. But I can tell you right now that they are asking for 6 or 7 digits. They are expecting a much higher settlement than $50,000. This is what I've been told. And so that's only to get their foot in the door. But 7M Productions, they explicitly are asking for $1 million. That has to come out first. So the problem is there's no money left for me at this point. So it was kind of good that these people brought suits, but at the same time, it's kind of screwed me because, if I spend all this money, I'm not going to get any money back. It doesn't look like. And so, but I mean, it might be worth it only because, again, I want it on record she lied. I want it in the court system adjudicated that she was found liable for this stuff. I think it's important because I'm already $5,000 in the hole on that lawsuit. I didn't gain anything by this GoFundMe. I didn't break halfway even for what I've spent on this lawsuit. So it tells you that I really am serious about it. Why would I spend $5,000 of my own money if I'm not serious on this? That's a stupid investment if I think I'm going to make a profit on that. It was never about the money. It's about the fact that I want her exposed for being a lying. I got to be careful with my phrasing here because I can show that she lied. That's not defamation. A lying. You know what? I'll let you guys fill in the blanks. I am in a lawsuit with her, so I got to be careful what I say. But I can say she's a liar because that's a factual statement. We can actually say that she lied. We have definite proof by all these other people out there that she's lied about many different things. And then let's see here. According to Steve, he has all the evidence he needs to prove that Katie Joy's countersuit is without merit. Absolutely. Again, the 3 things that her complaint is upon is 1, that I fabricated evidence. That didn't happen. I have evidence, that shows that where I got the screenshots from, they were not fabricated. At least I believe that they're real. I still believe it to this day. I've never doubted their authenticity. But my belief is my own belief. I'm allowed to have my belief that they're real. But I certainly didn't fabricate them. I don't believe anybody fabricated them. I do think that they're real. I really, honest to God, think that they're real. I'm not bullshitting. I still think they're real. I've never doubted they're real. But do I know where they originated from as far as who Katie was talking to in the screenshots? No, I do not. Without merit, evidence, or cause. Additionally, he feels that her claims are retaliatory in nature. Yeah, so the other things that she said were, I released confidential information, but I asked my lawyer if I can do that, which means there was no malicious intent, which means she has no standing on that. That could be dismissed on that, merely on that. Even if it was something that couldn't be released, which I don't think is the case because my lawyer has specifically said if I got that information through the process of the court, I can do what I want with it. His words, if I got it through the process of the court proceedings, I could do whatever I want with it. It's only confidential through the court as far as like access to the public. This is what he told me. But again, she has to show malice, which she cannot do if I have my lawyer give me permission to do it. Obviously, there's no maliciousness there. So that could be, dismissed. And then the third thing that she is a claim is that, that I said she had fraudulent fundraisers. Not exactly what I said. I mean, I don't think I've ever spoken those words to my knowledge. Whatever. But I've questioned things. I have questioned many of her fundraisers, and there's nothing wrong to question them. You can do that. I mean, when you are running a GoFundMe for Ronald McDonald's charity house, and it goes to your own PayPal, that raises some serious questions, especially if you look into Ronald McDonald's charity house, they have to authorize any benefits on their behalf. It's in their thing. If you go to their webpage, it's there somewhere. I've seen it. They have to authorize. They never authorized her to collect funds on their behalf, and it went to her PayPal. Now, it's up to you if you want to determine that's fraud or not, but there's certainly raises some serious questions for that, does it not? I mean, especially if she can write it off as a tax, donation, right? So yeah, it should go directly to the clearinghouse. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But those are the 3 claims against me. Those are the 3 things in her countersuit. I swear to God, those are the 3 things. Now, I ask you, How dumb is that? How grasping for straws is that? If those are the three things in her counterclaim, of all the things that she could possibly think of to countersue me on, it's those three stupid things. Not much of a case, right? I mean, especially when all the horrific things that she has said that myself, Tina, and Aaron have done. All these, oh, we've been running a cult. Oh, we have a Facebook group. Oh, we have been harassing her and stalking her and sending death threats. None of that's in there. As far as, complaint or counter complaint, she has alleged those things, but she has no evidence of them. But as far as her counter complaint, nothing. As far as what she's suing me for. So, yeah, it's definitely a red flag. Starlady says she should lose all social media and everything she gained by the money she made on the lies she spews. I have a strong feeling that she might be losing her YouTube channel, and I've said this, before, and I still think this way. It's not that I have inside information on it, not claiming that, but I think that I do know this. I do have inside information. I do know for a fact, and many of you guys know, there have been networks involved. As networks, as in studio networks, right? Involved in getting in touch with YouTube in order to remove videos and her channel. That is factual. But YouTube said they were going to remove her channel if they got a certain degree of reasons to remove. They didn't do it. And so I think it's going to happen, again, this is strictly now going on what I've heard rather than what I've been told, that whoever's suing her, one of the people are going to be suing her with that information, saying that YouTube did not fulfill their obligations, that YouTube did not take down her channel and allowed her to continue to defame people. I think somebody's going to sue for that. Now, who it is, I do not know. I don't have a freaking clue. I don't know if it's one of the networks. I don't know if it's Lindsay. I don't know if it's somebody in the Chrisley family. I do not freaking know. But the way Todd Chrisley had described it as somebody who is also naming YouTube, that to me would make sense, but that is purely my conjecture. That is my theory, my hypothesis, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not stating that as fact, but it would make sense to me. Yeah. Momo Jack says, when are you going to host another debate or discussion between the two opposing views? This coming month, I have some stuff scheduled. And so, yeah, I'm going to be doing more of that. I have not been able to put in the effort that I wanted to for certain things, unfortunately. But I will be picking it up starting tomorrow. I'm doing a whole bunch of things. I'm setting aside a few hours for tomorrow to get some stuff accomplished. And I will be setting up some actually more formal debates. But I just had one not too long ago. So it's on the Non Sequitur Show channel. But I haven't put forth the effort that I should have been putting into recently in the last week. And I apologize for that. I really am sincerely apologetic of that. But I will, starting tomorrow, May 1st, be re-energized, be invigorated, and do what I got to do to make these things happen. Because I have people messaging me, and I do get back to them all, but I have people messaging me, hey, Steve, I want to do this debate. I want to do that debate. All the freaking time I get this. And so in order to make the debates happen, I have to correspond not with this one person, but the other person to make sure that their time schedules match. So I do have, I believe, coming up to the end of this week, we're trying for it. Again, I have to get my work schedule, but I should be off midday most of these days. I should only work till like 2. I don't imagine working too much past that. I should be morning shifts, but even still, we are going to be doing a debate on which is a better, as I say it, which is better as far as an ethical, moral framework and politics as far as Star Wars versus Star Trek. Now, I know it's been done many times, but I've got a lot of people interested in that, so I'm going to be doing something like that with a pretty well-known YouTuber that has like 250,000 subs. So I won't say who they are, but we'll put that eventually. Don Parker says, hey, why'd you start on time instead of, right now? Can you please repeat everything I missed? I'll start from scratch again. Hey, welcome. If you guys haven't joined me before, my name's Steve McRae, and I'm the founder of the Non Sequitur Show. No, I didn't say any of that, by the way. But anyways, yes, according to me, her claims are retaliatory in nature. She has said, and my lawyers do know this, that she says she has just filed a countersuit for, quote, leverage, her words. And I think that's what she's going to do in the Todd Chrisley case. I haven't seen what she's filed yet because I don't think it's filed yet. Usually the system is a day off or a few hours off at least. But I will bet you right now in her countersuit to Todd Chrisley, it is bad. Matter of fact, her motion to dismiss was bad. It was boilerplate. It was cut and paste. We had all shown that the same vernacular was used in both lawsuits. She's trying to run the same reasoning in both lawsuits for 7M as well as for Todd Chrisley, and I think it's pretty well what she worded in her counter to me as well. I have to go back and look at that. It's been a while, but it sounds relatively similar to why she thinks that my motion should have been dismissed. There was no grounds for relief, which is nonsense. I'll check that tomorrow to see how close it was to what she sent to my attorneys. But anyways, she definitely has said that they're for leverage, which is, to me, I think retaliatory. There's no basis for it, and I bet that her counterclaim to Todd Chrisley is absolutely nonsensical. Here's what she's going to say. My opinion. She's going to say, Todd Chrisley tried to extort her. That's bullshit. Todd Chrisley attacked her child. That's bullshit. Todd Chrisley had disparaged her defamationally by per se that it affected her and gave her PTSD. That is bullshit. These are all boilerplate claims that she has said about everyone. Right? I'm sorry, but if everybody and their brother has given you PTSD, then you have no grounds for anything. You can't determine which one actually gave you the PTSD to get compensated for that. And she had PTSD supposedly before she even joined YouTube. I have articles on her going back that she has suffered from anxiety and stress long before she had a YouTube channel. But anyways, this is the video that they showed, Fools and Bulls. And then people can go check out that video. And it says, remember to check back with us for more YouTube views and updates about the Non Sequitur Show and other lawsuits in the news. And her name was, again, J. Flowers, a freelance journalist and self-published author. She is an actual journalist and a senior curator at Blasting News on the USA platform. She studied journalism and human communications in Australia and New Zealand and has been writing and publishing since 2001. And she's very nice, very cordial. She was very interested in this. I think most people that recognize when you misuse something like the Me Too movement in order to try to say somebody has sexually harassed you when they did not, that's not taken kindly by YouTubers, journalists, of anybody that has a shred of ethics to their name. So that's what I want the takeaway to be. I want people to know that Katie Joy had misused the Me Too You movement to try to slander me, hoping there'd be a bunch of the people I supposedly had done that to, none of which ever said anything, right? Because it never happened. She was trying to say, oh, Steve, this does to everybody. Well, no, there's not a single guest that came on the show that said that. Not one. It never happened. She fabricated the entire story. And I want her to be held accountable, either legally or at least in the public eye, that Katie Joy falsely accuses people of sexual harassment, period. And here's the reasoning. Look, if she did that to me, she could do it to anybody. She's falsely accused Todd Chrisley and Todd Chrisley's wife of abusing her child, or attacking their child. She accused me of abusing her child. Yeah, she accused me of abusing her child, whom I've never met, never been in the same state with, merely because I dare asked what Katie Joy meant by medically fragile child. That is not abuse. That is not abusing somebody's child. That is hyperbolic. When you say that somebody abused somebody's child, that's a matter of fact statement. That is defamation. She's accusing Todd Chrisley now and his wife of Julie Chrisley, right? I don't think she used the word abuse, but attacking her child. That's bullshit. If you go listen to Todd Chrisley's podcast, at no time, in no way, in any interpretation, in any possible world, can you interpret what they said as an attack on her child. That is disgusting that she uses her child like that. And I'd said that for years, and I got vilified for it. And I had people telling me, you don't mention anything about her child. And I got really bad advice on that. I wish I would have mentioned more, because maybe people would have realized that she does use her child as a defense for these types of things. And so funny, because on Twitter, people will predict it. Oh, 2 days from now, Katie will be bringing up her child again as to try to deflect from all the things that people are saying about Katie and all the lies that she's saying. And that exactly happens. They predict it right on the money. In fact, I think they predicted this too, that, oh, look,
Katie's going to use her child again. And sure enough, she did. Oh, when the Todd podcast came out, Katie used her child again. So yeah, I'm not beholden myself to anybody any longer. I listen to good advice and I eschew bad advice. If you give me bad advice, I'll listen, but then I'll say I'll just respectfully not going to take it. Doesn't mean I don't listen. But I have taken bad advice in the past and I've gotten screwed from it since I've been on YouTube. I have not everybody. One has your best interest, and a lot of people just don't know what the fuck they're talking about or don't know all the details. And I, unfortunately, am a very complying person, I guess you can say. I don't want to cause too many problems with people I care about, so I've listened to bad advice. And I'm not going to do that any longer. So, like I said, I really wish I would have let people more know that she does that. She falsely accuses people of attacking her child. She did me, and then it became, oh, not just that Steve attacked my child, Steve abused my child. That's hyperbolic language. If somebody would say, if I said, hey, April, you've abused my child, yeah, you should take offense to that because it's not possible. You know, April has never been in the same state as my child. I don't think April even knows my child's name. So, let's see here. Autistic Shell says, I've heard the same, and I'll literally go out and get sparkling wine coolers and party. We should all have a party. I hope you get vindicated. Yeah, I need a good rum and coke night. I know Kano has been asking me for a rum and coke night. So maybe one of these nights when she's off and I'm off and you know, we're just chilling, and we'll have a rum and coke night. I'd actually get some real rum. I'm not a big fan of rum, although I had that, what is it, that I had the spiced rum, and it was Admiral spiced rum was good, and I had the Kraken, which was really good. That's Kraken is good rum. But it takes me so long to drink it. I mean, a bottle will last me forever. Let's see here. UNICEF says, my beloved fish has died tonight. I'm very sad and a business strong. Well, that sucks, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. I don't. Death sucks, man. I am not a fan of death. Well, there are certain people I wouldn't care if they died or not. This is fact. Don't. You can hate me all you want. Yeah, there are certain people that I would not give a rat's ass if they died or not. But animals, yeah, I got a soft spot for animals, especially pets. When they die, it hurts, and I get that. So yes, I do think, to me at least, I'd be more upset if my dog died. Well, it's Kano's dog, but I happen to care about this dog. Than certain people that in my life that have been just reprehensible, wretched, immoral people. I just don't give a shit whether they do or not. And people go, "Oh, look, Steve's being non-empathetic. Steve's being a sociopath." And I was like, "It's like, so what? At least I'm being honest. I don't think it has to do with sociopathy whatsoever. I think it or psychopathy whatsoever. I think it's the fact that there are certain people I just don't give a shit whether they live or die. Sorry." And I think that anybody who's honest would probably say that as well. For many people that have just so morally detestable people, yeah, why would you give a shit? They're not anybody of any consequence to me. I do value human life, but there's a limit. There's a limit when there are certain people. I mean, if somebody is actually causing harm to people, then again, I don't place much value on them. So that's just me. Take it for what it's worth. I don't care. Vilify me for it. Make 1,000 videos on it. Whatever. People do it all the time. I don't watch any of them. I don't care. If people are going to be hypocrites and say, "Oh, I would never," I care what everybody. If anybody dies, okay, well, that's you. If you care, you don't care that some piece of shit that's actually like example, like a mass murderer. I don't give a shit if somebody like Ted Bundy or those guys die. I don't care if a serial killer gets executed. I just don't care. I'm sorry. That makes me a bad person. So what? I'll live with that. If somebody harmed my daughter and they were executed, I wouldn't care. I would pull the fucking switch. That's just me, though. Everybody has their own, ethical framework. To me, I think it's perfectly fine. Well, I will say this though: the death penalty has pros and cons, and we'll have a discussion on the death penalties one of these days. And I do understand the people that are against the death penalty. I get their arguments, and I'm not saying they're bad arguments. However, I also think that if there are certain people that are so devalued in society, where all they're going to do is go out and harm people and kill people and do the things of that nature, then yeah, I don't see a point of keeping them around on the budget, on the public dole. I just don't. But I'll take arguments for it. But yeah, I can understand the want to have retributive justice.
And I'm not against retributive justice in that sense. I think restorative is better in most cases, but you can't always have restorative justice. And so, but yeah, anyways, that was sidetracked. I didn't mean to get into that. But you'd have, I am really sorry your fish died. And he says, trust me, I took better care of him than Kyle's goldfish. Yeah. Well, Kyle's goldfish, for some reason, from what I understand, is no longer a supporter of mine. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I know who they are in real life, but I don't know. For some reason, they think that I somehow broke an agreement with somebody, which didn't happen. So, but they never asked me about it. So my position is this: think what you want, but if you never personally have come ask me for details, then your opinion has lessened in my eyes. I think there have been a lot of people that didn't ask me about things, that didn't get the facts, didn't get the truth. And if they want to run with it and believe things on hearsay, I can't stop them. But he is with the reeds now. He is swimming with the guppies. And I hope he's very content. And I'm sure that he was a very good fish. Star Lily, me too. Give me a break. Jesse says, serve her a lawsuit and somehow her son is sick or people are attacking him. Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah. And by the way, some idiot out there, and I'll get this on record because I was supposed to talk about this the other night with Aaron on EKC People Sucks channel. So this gives some people content. Some people were like, oh, Steve's somehow with Jesse. I have no relationship with Jesse whatsoever. She's somebody that I know. We talk occasionally, but we have no relationship with each other. I've never dated her, never wanted to date her, nothing like that whatsoever. So when some idiot says, oh, Steve and Jesse are back together, no, we are not. No. You can't get back together on something that you never had. Jesse and I have no relationship like that whatsoever. She hangs on my chat and I talk to her so often. So what? I do that with thousands of other people. So I want that very clear because I don't know who started that stupid rumor, but that is just dumb. It's just absolutely dumb. Jesse knows that we're not compatible in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, regardless. But yeah, I think that was a stupid rumor to start, that somehow that her and I were more than just friends. Whatever. And yeah, I mean, I consider her a friend. I mean, I think she has done some pretty weird stuff, and you want to vilify me for that for it? Okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. But whatever. I'm friends with a lot of people. I mean, I don't try to vilify people because other people go after them. I just don't care. And that's between them and the other person. Doesn't mean I'm hanging out with them 24/7 or anything like that. Doesn't mean I'm going to have any kind of relationship with somebody. There's people in my live chat that often come by. I would probably never meet in real life, obviously, or want to meet in real life. I'm just not going to shit on them. It's just because I don't shit on somebody because you shit on somebody doesn't make me a bad person. I just don't care. Whatever. Hate who you want. I don't force me to hate who you want. Let's see here. Mojo says, I think any vindication comes out of this has already came out in public eye over the last however many years Steve's been talking about without a crystal ball. And you would think so, right? But that's not necessarily the case. There are still idiots out there that run with these narratives. And yes, they are getting pushback. People are going, God, you people are stupid. Oh my God. You have said that Katie Joy's said, you believe that Katie Joy's, when she said that the judge put her into the VAWA, you're an idiot. Oh, you believe that Steve McRae got a restraining order. You're an idiot. There are people giving them pushback. But whatever. Let's see here. April says, I definitely don't know your child and likely have not been in the same country during her lifetime. Yeah, she's never left America, so probably not. Star Lily says, come stay at my house and you will see what PTSD actually looks like and is. My husband is a Vietnam vet, and I'm really sorry to hear that. Vietnam vets, absolutely. I can imagine having PTSD. I have been involved with people that have PTSD. It is not pleasant. It is very difficult. I won't say that I'll ever do it again because I don't want to stigmatize it. I don't want to say, look, I can't. But for me, I don't know if I have the wherewithal to deal with people that have PTSD that are not getting treatment for it, or at least not effective treatment for it. I don't know. It's very, very difficult. I applaud anybody who does. It is not easy, Star Lily, and I think that probably for you is something that you would agree. It is not easy. You see it firsthand. Your husband suffered PTSD because of his time in the Vietnam War. And you have to live with that as well. And it's hard. But you know what? I am grateful that you give him support. Veterans need support, and not everybody's able to provide it at that level. I don't even know if I'm able to provide at that level, and I'm a veteran, but I didn't get PTSD from being a veteran. I don't have PTSD. What I have, though, is, I have other things, so I'm not going to get into it, but I don't have PTSD. But I have literally been with people that have PTSD, and it's not easy. Yeah, so I do applaud you for that, Star Lily. And I hope your husband is able to get the help he needs and deal with it through the VA, because the VA is exceptionally good at dealing with those things, at least most chapters. They've had years of experience with it. They treat that very, very, very seriously. Autistic Shill, my threshold is kids. I am against the death penalty, but if somebody unalives a kid, that's my threshold. I agree with you. I think that, as a matter of fact, there have been people out. There was somebody that had killed a 15-year-old girl, and she got 9 years in prison for it or something. Then I watched a video on the other day, and I was like, wait a minute, this person killed a 15-year-old girl, murder, straight up murder, and they only got 9.5 years. How is this possible? What is it? What mitigating circumstances were there for this? There have people gotten more for attempted solicitation of a minor than murder, for 9.5 years for murder. I don't get that. I don't get that. You kill a kid and you get 9.5 years. I mean, maybe there was more to it than the story. It didn't get into much detail on the YouTube video that I was watching. But I watched a channel called They Will Kill You, if you guys are familiar with that channel. I'm not a morbid person, and I don't know why I watch those things, because again, I'm not into morbid things. I've never watched Faces of Death, if you guys remember that. That was big in my day. Faces of Death. Nope. I still have nightmares when I watch Saw, the movie Saw. I think it was Saw 3 especially. One of the Saw movies, not the first one, but the later on, I still have vivid. I'm like, nope, not into that shit. Not into gore. Nope. But I do occasionally, get into the whole Darwin Awards things, right? People that are so stupid that their unaliveness was just mind-bogglingly dumb. For some reason, I will watch those things. Kwas says who? Yeah, I don't know what that. Mojo says those people who given you pushback, I doubt would change their mind if you win or lose this case. Though, yeah, you're right on that. These people don't give a shit about that, dude. Ergo and vindication out of this has already happened, in my opinion. Yeah, and to some extent, I do get you, and I think you might be right. But I have to be convinced of that to sufficiency, even though I'm probably convinced that I've been vindicated. So I will say that, yes, I have been vindicated. But I think I could be vindicated better as time progresses. I hope, does that make sense? Because you're right, Mojo. Those people that are running a false narrative, that are lying on behalf of Katie Joy, or just repeating her lies by saying that I had an RO, or saying that it was a file in the VAWA, yeah, you're not going to convince them. They don't give a shit about the truth, right? But other people that know the truth, that have all given them pushback, going, yeah, you people are just stupid. You're lying and you're slandering Steve, and we see it, and that's fine. Because I don't bother with any of those people. I don't respond to any of them. I don't have anything to do with any of them. So that happens in a completely different part of the internet that I just doesn't have anything to do with me. They're not having an effect on it in that regard, because if anything, they're having the opposite effect that they're intending, is people now know that Katie lied and that they're helping Katie. They're literally spreading the same rumors that Katie did. Right. And so they're looking pretty dumb, because Katie's not the most well-respected person on YouTube right now. She's getting to have it. I'll just say it. She has a reputation of being infamous. She is not a well-liked YouTuber. She is a very disliked YouTuber. I don't think that's anything wrong on saying that. That's completely what I've observed, in my opinion. And for people that are parroting her narrative, they look just as bad as she does. So. Autistic Shell says the thing is, you say up front, you can't do that. We all have our good and not so good, but being up front, admitting shows you're truthful. Well, I just know my limitations. I know what I can and cannot do on certain things, and I've tried to. I've tried to be there for people that I think have some psychological issues, and it's happened many times in my life. And it's hard. It's hard. It really is difficult. It is a lot of stress knowing that the person you care about is not mentally well. I don't like that. It's draining to no end. And yet you care about the person, right? You love them. It sucks. I don't like falling in love with people that have mental issues, but it happens. You can't choose who you fall in love with. I get that, right? But it still hurts nevertheless. And so maybe you just don't put yourself in a position to fall in love with somebody that has those kind of issues, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. But like I said, I do applaud you very much, Star Lily, for that, and give my best to your husband, who's a veteran, and thank him for his service. I'm so pro vet, it's disgusting. I do honor the veterans. I honor anybody that has been in the military that got discharged honorably, that has retained their honor, unlike some notorious YouTubers that supposedly were in the military and made it through boot camp, but have lost their honor by becoming dishonest pieces of shit. Those people I do not respect. But for the other veterans, Semper Fi, and I just hold them in very high regard. And if you are interested in that kind of stuff, go watch AT2 Productions channel. He has a Veterans Weekly that he does, and go check it out. Let's see here. Okay, well, I think we're caught up on all that. So anyways, this went a lot longer than I expected. We're well over 90 minutes. I apologize. We're all on our way to 2 hours again. I don't know how these things last for so long. I know I can talk. I know I have the ability to talk for an extended period of time. I recognize this. It's just something I really didn't want to do tonight. But unfortunately, it is what it is. And, whatever. I'm having fun. Hope Kano had something to listen to while she's at work. I know she just puts this on the background when she's kind of doing her own thing. And so let me ask you guys, what did you think of this article? Was it well written? Did it have any errors in it? And again, keep in mind that it had to be under 500 words, right? So there is that to account for. But I think I got the message out. I think that this shows at least that I'm willing to go on record, and I'm willing to stake everything I have on the fact that Katie Joy lied about me and other people. And although you guys know this, her subs don't know this. Or at least they don't seem to care. I don't know which it is. Obviously, it's probably a mixture, obviously. I mean, we had to be rational. There's probably people that are sub to her that do know that she lies and don't care. And there's other people out there that just don't know it for some reason. Reason being is there are people all the time going, oh, I believe Katie Joy, and all of a sudden now I realize she's lying. Just says Katie doesn't like to share her articles to her current subscribers because they would see her for who she is, maybe only know her as YouTuber, thanks to Onision documentary. Yeah, and that's what actually Todd Chrisley calls her, that YouTuber. And I get that. I get why they're not using her name. Matter of fact, Katie's scared to death of using my name. Katie has not mentioned my name forever. Now, let's think about this. I want you all to think about this. And while I'm asking this, Jesse, can you verify in the live chat that you and I have never had any kind of relationship? I would like you to do it for me. So anybody in the back who doesn't get that, they're just an idiot at this point. But as far as the her using my name, she won't do it. She will not use my name, and I think that's very telling, because I think that she doesn't want her audience to find my name. What was I going to ask? There's something else I was going to ask before I got sidetracked there. What was I going to do? God dang it! I just had an old man brain fart. What was it? Rewind it. What was it? What did I say before I asked Jesse to put that in there that I was going to do? It was more than just her not using my name. Damn it. Okay, now this is going to bug me. I got to listen to this. I want to hear what the hell I was saying. I don't like having brain farts. They've been happening more and more lately. I'll mute this so you guys don't hear it. A sec. Oh yeah, I know what it was. Now, okay, it refreshed my memory. Sorry about that little break there. So think about this, guys. Supposedly, I was the woe of all her issues. 2 years ago, Steve McRae was the mastermind of everything. Steve McRae was the cult leader. Steve McRae was harassing me. Steve McRae was sending death threats. She didn't say that back. Well, she said death threats were sent to her and implied that I was involved with them, but she didn't explicitly say it like she did recently. Steve and Tina have a Facebook group where they harass me. Steve is the most evil person in the world. Blah, blah, blah. All these different things. And yet, somehow that no longer applies. She doesn't mention me at all. Now it's Todd Chrisley is the cause of all her problems, or 7M is the cause of all her problems, or 20, 30, 40 other YouTubers are all the cause of her problems. Creepshow Art was the cause of her problems. Nick Snyder was the cause of her problems. How many different names can you come up with? I think there's 40 or 50 that people have already come up with she has said was the cause of her problems. I mean, there's a list out there. There's an actual list of names of how many people she has said has caused her the PSD or caused her problems or harmed her career or harmed her channel or harmed her subs, harmed her child, all this stuff. There's an actual list. You guys have seen it. But I was the kingpin of all of it. I was the worst person on the planet leading this charge. And yet now I've been relegated to nothingness now. Once it came out that she was lying about all that stuff, she doesn't mention my name any longer. Weird how that works, right? I mean, if I was really this bad person that she tried to make me out to be, wouldn't she be like leading the charge? Steve McRae is still harassing me. Steve McRae doing this stuff. Nope, nothing. Nope, she won't say my name. She's scared to death of the fact that I have evidence showing that she lied about this stuff. I will bet you money she does not want that information out there, nor have I made it public yet. But some of you guys have seen it. Some of you guys have actually seen the fact that I have absolute evidence she lied about certain things, not just what's on the record, but I mean, evidence that her statements were completely false, as she said to her subs about me. She doesn't want that out there. Now, granted, will it significantly impact her? No. It could be shown that this woman has, kicked puppies, and I think a lot of her followers would still follow hers. I mean, people still, like I said, there's still one or two people that think Kyle is the shit, right? So it doesn't matter what you do to vindicate yourself when she has an audience of people this fucking dumb. When you have a group of people like flat earthers, it doesn't matter how many times you show them the earth is round and all the evidence for it, they will refuse to believe it, right? So, and by the way, we are doing you guys want a little foreshadowing? Yeah, you do. Non Sequitur Show is doing something on flat earth in May. Yes, we are. I won't tell you the guest. I won't tell you the subject matter, but we are doing something on flat earth. Yay! Just a little foreshadowing. But by the way, Jesse, did you note? By the way, I'm still waiting for Jesse to admit that we have absolutely no relationship, because people were saying that Jesse was saying that on some Reddit. I didn't find the evidence for that, and I want to make sure that in her own words that she lets you guys know that we are nothing like that. Absolutely nothing. Mojo says, I don't think AT2 is a big fan of Steve's after the last Non Sequitur Show breakup. Why would you say that? Why? Yeah, I don't think that you're right on that. Although I don't talk to Jared that much, I do know the people that do, and no, I think Jared is still quite a bit of fan. I don't know why you would think otherwise, Mojo. I mean, you could ask him directly if you want, but no, the people that talk to Jared, why would you think that? I'm just kind of curious. April says, seems okay to me, but you really could have written something comparable in words to War and Peace. I don't know what that's on. Oh, you're talking about the journal, the article. Okay, I got you. The article got the message out. Yes, it did. And I think that it was going to get out in more places as well. I'm hoping to talk to more people. I think that if my name is attached to some other lawsuits, which might happen, that'll get some information out. Again, I know there's a lot of people that won't cover it, but there are a lot of people that will. But when it starts getting out there that she's lied about other people, yeah, obviously it'll trickle down that she lied about me. And of course, I do look out for myself first. I have no choice. I want people to know she lied about me, but that also helps other people that she actually lied about Tina. She lied about Aaron. She lied about Todd. She lied about Robert Shin. Lied about Toddy. All these things come full circle. Yeah. Artistic says, were you going with why people don't use her name? No, why don't use my name? Yeah, April says, harassed me. Steve sent death threats. Steve sued Kyle and won. Yeah, autistic says she does say her kid causes her mental health. Yeah, I mean, it's all related, right? I mean, again, you can't have 40 people all be the cause of your mental health problems. As Todd Chrisley has said in his podcast, he has said that she's not well. She's not well. Mojek says, I don't think you were a big fan of how you treated Chess. I understand it could be wrong. Yeah, I think you might be wrong on that. Yeah, I don't know why you think that at all. And by the way, I treated her exceptionally well. I went out of my way to keep my promises. I went on my way to do everything right. It wasn't good enough, and I don't play these games. If my best isn't good enough, fuck off. I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to be lied to. I'm not going to be manipulated. I'm not going to be emotionally manipulated. I'm not going to be gaslit. Not going to happen. Make it very clear to people that's not how I operate. And people that know me should know that I'm not going to be intimidated by people, nor threatened, nor basically, I mean, straight up gaslit. It's not going to be happening. So yeah, I treat people very well. I always go by the facts. I always keep my promises, and I always will. So yeah, I don't know why you think that with AT2, but I can ask him. Yeah, I'll definitely ask him. If I'm wrong on that, I'm happy to say, wow, okay, Jared, what happened there? Because through a mutual third party, that's not the case. That I understand. Have you talked to Jared on that, Mojo? I'm just curious. Has Joe? I don't want you to really have to repeat somebody's story, but like I said, I think that you're off on that. But have you? I just want to know if you've talked to Jared. I'm not going to ask you what he said, but I'll reach out to him. Blaze says, Glaze and Confused says, did Tina share her story yet? I've been curious to hear what happened to her. Not to my knowledge. Tina was going to share her story, I believe, on my channel. Or Aaron's. I don't remember. One or the other. But she hasn't really shared her story yet. And that's for her to tell. I know her story. I know her story very, very well. I know all the details of the situation. But it's not my story to tell. But that's also why I stand behind Tina 110%. I recognize that Tina was screwed over. I recognize that Tina was brought into a situation and lied about. And I take that very personally because she didn't deserve that. None of us did. None of us deserve to have been lied about the way we have been over the years. Okay, what else we got? I'm going to try to wrap it up in 7 minutes here. By the way, I will promote the channel. If you want to support the channel, become a member. You get a nice green name. I really do appreciate that. Or you become a Patreon. That would be really cool too. I am obviously still doing some philosophy videos. I did in the first installment the other day. I'm going to try to do one a week, give or take. And the first one was on denial and rejection, and then I think the next one might actually be on logic, or I might just change it up and I might do something like on morality. I don't know. I'm picking these random terms that just are interesting to me and going with them and saying, okay, what is it that the average person should know about these things? That's my Patreon. If you guys want to become a Patreon member, I do appreciate it. Obviously, lately things have gone down, but since I only have to pay myself, it almost kind of averages out a little bit. It's still a little bit less, but I'm going to be putting out content. I want philosophical content on this channel. I want to talk about what's happening in the news. I want to be talking about the communities. I have this channel, my Great Debate Community channel, and the Non Sequitur Show, but it's going to be more of a hobby, like the way it should be, because I'm going back to work starting this Tuesday. But I'm going to try my damnedest not to neglect anything online. I'm going to keep putting out content that I enjoy, spending my time with you guys, letting you guys know my thoughts, being with other content creators, and again, doing the science and philosophy stuff. And certainly with the Non Sequitur Show, having debates, having discussions. I do have some very name recognizable people coming up. One of them had to change their time only because they're going out of town. One second, I gotta sneeze. They're going out of the country, actually, for a while. And so I had to reschedule some things and move some stuff around. So it's kind of been up in the air. But if you are interested in being on the Non Sequitur Show, message me directly on some format. I don't care how, preferably through the Non Sequitur Show email, which is on the webpage. But if that doesn't work, because that's the best way to communicate as far as show stuff. But if you want to do it on DM or Facebook or whatever, that's fine too. I have people messaging me. They want to be on the show, but I have to make it all happen. And so I'm working on that. I'll work on that tomorrow. Who wants to be on the show, talk about what topics, and go from there. Okay. But like I said, if you want to become a Patreon on the channel, I really do appreciate it. It just shows that there's a little bit of support there. Or like I said, to the membership to the channel, you get a little green name. Melly Lynn says, just got here. The soap opera has done 3 pieces on Katie Joy, all making her seem like a liar. Wonder who they are. I don't know what she means by that. Well, Katie Joy is a liar. Nobody makes her look like a liar. Katie Joy is well established that she lies. Matter of fact, there's so many different channels out there and so many different Twitter accounts now that keep track of her lies. Matter of fact, somebody had posted that she said that she named her son after some football player in one place, and then said she named her son after a meaning of the word in Norse, which probably was the most case because they are, pagans as far as that. They really be in this Norse mythology, but you can't have both things. Either you named your kid after one or the other. I named my kid after Ronald Reagan. My story's always been the same on that, so. I know I get a lot of flack for that. Sure, you like Reagan? Yeah, I liked Reagan. Oh, what about his economics? What did he do? Yeah, no president's perfect, but I like how he did the patriotism. I like how people were so patriotic back then in a positive sense, rather than the way Trump did it. There was the antithesis of each other. Reagan and Trump absolutely on opposite ends of the spectrum, trying to do patriotism. Mom Ojax, I've never talked to you directly, but I've heard some things. Well, don't go by rumors. Yeah. Like I said, I could be wrong. Plus, you did laugh at Chess when she expressed how her values were. Yeah, well, yeah. When you value your work at $200,000, I'm gonna laugh at that. That's stupid. That's idiotic, and I laughed at that evaluation. That valuation was beyond ridiculous. The final amount was $50,000 according to her. That was ridiculous. She got paid what she was due. So yeah, I absolutely laughed at that evaluation. Anybody with 2 brain cells would have done that. Melly Lynn, she is a lot more than a gigantic liar. Oh, well, yes, I concur with that. I absolutely agree with that. But again, I appreciate the fact that there's so many people more nowadays that are noticing this. I mean, back then we felt like we were pushing against a glacier, right? I mean, it was an uphill battle with Tina and myself, especially because we couldn't get a lot of people to understand how dishonest this person really was, how manipulative they were, how they would use the legal system to manipulate people, right? I mean, because she's misused the legal system. We all know this now. This isn't a matter of just subjective evaluation. She outright lied in the affidavits. Either something is true or not. When you say, when Steve and I were in a room together and when the co-host left the room, that is a lie. There's no way else to interpret that. You can't say, oh, well, she meant Google Hangout or VCall. No. That was a deliberate attempt to get the judge to believe, because again, as Uncivil Law correctly notes, the judge only looks what's in front of them. When a judge sees what's in front of them, when we were in a room together, this happened, the judge is going to infer a physical room. That is just how it's going to be connoted. In other words, the connotations of it. If you read, Steve was in a room and had an apple, you would assume I was in a room and I had an apple. You wouldn't be thinking I was in some vMix call having an apple. You would be thinking of the physical structure. She knows how to manipulate things by wording things in a way that could be taken differently, whether either what's called amphibly or through just equivocation. So she knows how to do that. She's very, very manipulative. But now more channels are seeing this. They saw it with Creepshow Art, who was a horrible person, and she tried to manipulate that. And she's done it to many content creators. Anyways, like I said, I'm going to wrap this up. It's 7 o'clock. Let me know what you guys think in the video comment section. I appreciate all that you guys have done to support this channel and the other content creators. Please let me know. And I will get back. By the way, if you do email me or message me on wanting to become a guest on the channel, well, never mind. I won't even get into that. All right. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you. We'll be doing a stream tomorrow, probably. It will be on something philosophical. I just haven't determined which actual topic I want to go with. Okay. What did it say? Momo says you were laughing at this as expression of how you treat or respect it. No, I was laughing at the amount. Any idiot can figure that out. Clearly, I was laughing at a $200,000 evaluation is stupid. Yeah, I would laugh at that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I absolutely would laugh at that, Mojo. Anybody in the right mind would have laughed at that. Especially knowing what was going on behind the scenes, how disingenuous that was and how dishonest that was. Yeah, it was bullshit, Mojo. Trust me on that one. You know what? Don't have to trust me. I don't care. It was bullshit, and that's what I was laughing at. So now you know. But I'll ask AT2 Jared about it. Okay, I'll give you my word on that. Anyways, guys, I'm wrapping it up, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.